Hey, what's up guys? Scott coming back at you with another video. Gonna do kind of a cool video tonight. I hope everybody will enjoy it. I'm gonna delve deeper into my PSA Registry sets. First of all, was a great night for my sports teams. The Bucks got a big win back in Milwaukee against the Celtics, bringing that series back to 2-1. They had not been playing well at all, but tonight was awesome. I think they won by like 20-some points. Then my Brewers got a win too, 8-0 over the Marlins. Now the Marlins aren't too good of a team this year. They only have 5 wins. But this makes it 4 straight wins for the Brewers. They are 12-9 right now in the Central, and that is good enough for 3rd place, but only a half game out of 1st. So they're hopefully turning things around. You see a couple of the auction magazines here in the back. BST, they do a lot of like football, old vintage stuff, memorabilia, advertising. Really cool. Wish I had some money. I would probably bid on some stuff. That ends this weekend. And then this REA auction this time is just ridiculous as far as vintage baseball goes. So it's times like this you wish you were a millionaire and you could just buy, you could just go crazy and just buy all kinds of stuff. But that's not the case for me. So without further ado, I'm going to kind of get into the registry sets here. Obviously, I'm a big Green Bay Packers collector. So within the registry sets, there's 3 main Packer sets. There is the Team Hall of Fame set, which is around 100 cards, probably just a little bit more than that right now. Then there is the All-Time Packer set, which is about 25 cards, I want to say. And then there's the NFL Hall of Fame set, which is about 10 to 15 cards. So 3 different sets. There is some overlap within the sets, but those are the 3 sets, and I have been doing all 3 of the sets. As far as the Team Hall of Fame set goes, I am number 2 in that set. I think it's out of about, 20 people or so doing the set. Then in the all-time set, I am also number 2 out of, I think there's about 40 people doing that set. And as far as the NFL Hall of Fame set goes, I think there's at least 40 doing that set, and I am, I believe, number 3 in that set, behind only Hunt Casterline and one other guy. His name is Ryan, and he's got some amazing cards. So probably not going to jump higher than those in any of those sets. Alright, so without further ado, let's start looking at some cards here. Now the first 2 cards I'm going to show are cards that I feel will certainly be in the Team Hall of Fame at some point. This is kind of like prospecting. This is as prospecting as I get for the most part. But these guys will definitely be in the Packers Team Hall of Fame, and maybe an off-chance shot at the NFL Hall of Fame, but I doubt it. But these 2 players will probably for sure be in the all-time Packers set. So the first player I'll show here is Jordy Nelson. This is from 08 Topps Chrome in the grade of a 10. This card is a pop of 89. As far as Jordy Nelson goes, he's probably definitely going to be in the Packers Team Hall of Fame for sure. He is right now number 5 all-time in yards, number 2 all-time in touchdowns, and number 3 all-time in receptions. Just for reference, number 1 in yards is Donald Driver, number 2 in yards is James Lofton, 3 Sterling Sharp, 4 Don Hudson. Number 1 in touchdowns was Don Hudson, and the reception leaders for the Packers are Donald Driver and Sterling Sharp. But not too bad. Jordy Nelson is just right up there with all those numbers, and he moved on to the Raiders this year, unfortunately. Would have loved to see him retire a Packer, but that's just not how it seems to work in the NFL. But a cool card nonetheless, a cheap pickup, and a guy that's pretty much for sure going to be at least in the all-time Packer set and the Team Hall of Fame. Another prospecting card here is from 07 SP Authentic Mason Crosby. Now this card is only a pop of 8, so there's not a lot of them out there in the grade of a 10. And Mason Crosby is the all-time Packers points leader right now. He has 1,345 points all time, Usually kickers find their way to the top of these lists. Number 2 on the list is Ryan Longwell with 1,054 points, just for reference. Number 3 is actually Don Hudson, which just shows you how good Don Hudson was to be even on that list as a wide receiver. And then number 4 is Chris Jackie, another field goal kicker for the Packers from the 90s. And then Paul Hornung is number 5 on that list. And then we're going to start to get to some cards that are actually in sets here. The first card I have here is Clay Matthews, obviously not in the Team Hall of Fame set yet, but he will obviously be a Packers Team Hall of Famer when it all finishes. He is the all-time sacks leader for the Packers with 80 sacks. He just got that record this past year. And this card's a population of 31. Number 2 on the all-time leader list for sacks is Kabir Bajia-Biamila with 74.5. Just to give you a reference point. And Reggie White has 68.5 sacks as a Packer, but 198 overall. He got a lot of his sacks with the Eagles. And, of course, the all-time NFL sacks leader is Bruce Smith with 200. Back when Clay first started, I thought he would be for sure an NFL Hall of Famer, just based on his trajectory, but his last couple of years, due to injuries, and he's just kind of slowed down a bit. I'm not sure that he's going to make it into the Pro Football Hall of Fame. I'd say it was about 80% chance back a couple years ago, and now I'd have to say it's more of like a 30% chance. That's just my opinion. But I love the Topps Chrome cards. And then another card I have for the all-time set. Of course, Aaron Rodgers from 05 Topps Chrome. A very tough card to find centered and to find no scratches on. This card, believe it or not, is a pop of 190. I also have a BGS version, which I'll show in just a second. Rodgers, he's a guaranteed first ballot Hall of Famer already, 2-time league MVP. He currently holds 3 NFL records, one for all-time passer rating at 103.8, one for passer rating in a season, 122.5, which he had in 2011, and touchdown to interception ratio, he's number 1 all-time in NFL history at 4.13 to 1. Just as a reference point to that, Tom Brady is 3 to 1, and Russell Wilson, number 3 on the list, is 2.88 to 1. So Rodgers is definitely on an island of his own at 4.13 to 1. The guy just doesn't throw interceptions. So you can pretty much plan on him being a first ballot Hall of Famer. I bought this card back when it was going for about $350, $400. Right now, this card goes for around $900, $950. So I bought it at a good time, and also bought this one at a good time. I have a BGS 10. The pop for this one is a lot lower, only a population of 9 compared to 190 for PSA. And this is a real cool card to hold on to, just based on that population. So those cards are both part of the all-time sets currently, and obviously will be part of the Team Hall of Fame sets. And as far as the NFL Hall of Fame goes, Rodgers will definitely be there. Matthews, it's like a 30% shot, I think, at this point, if you had to ask me. And then we'll move into some cards from the Packers Team Hall of Fame set that I have here. All the cards that I'm showing this evening are from the 2000s or later. And then next video we'll go into the 90s. So the first one I'll show here actually takes up 2 spots. This grade of a 10. This card's population of only 4. Mark Tauscher and Chad Clifton are on the card. They both were offensive linemen. Clifton on the left tackle side, Tauscher on the right tackle side. Both played for about 10 or 11 years in the 2000s for the Packers. I believe Clifton is already in the Hall of Fame, and Tauscher, I think just this year, is being inducted into the Team Hall of Fame. So this card will be Tauscher's card for the Hall of Fame as well. Kind of cool when you get them both on one card like that. And it's always funny when you're trying to find cards to fill a set. For offensive linemen, they didn't always produce cards of them until a few years later. This is about halfway through their careers in 05. And you get some interesting cards. For instance, this is the Topps Total. That's the only card that had it's the only mainstream card that had these guys on it. So that's the first one. Then we'll go to 05 Bowman Chrome Nick Collins. He's also in the Packers Team Hall of Fame. This card's a population of 5. He was a 2-time Pro Bowler, and kind of a sad story for Nick Collins. He was doing very well and then he got injured in 2011. I still remember the play. He went up to tackle, I think it was Jonathan Stewart, or it was one of the running backs for the Carolina Panthers, and he just kind of whiffed on a tackle, and his head hit the thigh of the running back, and he ended up fracturing a couple of vertebrae in his neck, and that was it for Nick Collins. And arguably the Packers still have not recovered at safety in all these years. That's how good he was. He was a second-round draft pick out of Bethune-Cookman, kind of a small school. And the guy was awesome. I think if he wouldn't have hurt his neck, he could have been one of the all-time greats. But as it sits, he's still a Packers Team Hall of Famer. Here's KGB, Kabir Baja Biamila. This is the 01 SP Authentic, numbered out of 800. And this card's a population of only 7. This card is an extremely hard card to find for that set. Like I said, that Team Hall of Fame set's about 100 cards or a little bit more. And this is one of the last cards that I found. And I actually found it raw, and I had to submit it myself. I could never find one graded or raw for the longest time. It took me about 2.5, 3 years before I found one, and I was lucky enough to get a 10 on it. KGB is number 2 all-time leader in sacks for the Packers with 74.5. Obviously, we just talked about Clay Matthews. Is the number 1 guy. I actually met this guy in person. Very nice guy. He's got a lot of kids. He's got like 7 or 8 kids. But just a super cool dude. Alright, and then moving along, back to the year 2000, Pacific Frank Winters rookie card. I think this is the only card in my collection that is a population of 1 with no others graded. So this is the only 10 in the world. These cards were incredibly tough for chipping on the green part right there, and on the blue and on the back. You saw a lot of white usually. I submitted about 4 or 5 of these myself, and I never got anything better than an 8. A lot of 7s. And those were the best I could find to submit, buying them raw. So this card I actually got lucky and found for sale pretty cheap for like $20. And Winters played in the Packers from 92 to 02. 1-time Pro Bowler. He was under center for all of majority of Brett Favre's years. He actually presented Brett Favre for the Packers Hall of Fame induction ceremony. Last card we'll talk about here is this is Fleer Focus, 2000 Fleer Focus Amon Green, only in the grade of a 9. I'd love to find this in a 10, but I haven't got around to finding them raw and submitting them yet. This card's a population of 4, 2 graded higher. Amon Green is one of the all-time greats as far as running backs for the Packers. He is the leader in yards all-time. Number 2 on that list, just for reference, is Jim Taylor. Number 3 would be John Brockington. And then as far as touchdowns go, Amon Green is number 2 on the list, behind Jimmy Taylor. Paul Hornung would be number 3. So this is his card for the Team Hall of Fame set, because how the Team Hall of Fame set works is we want to see your first card in a Packers uniform, and then this is this card. He did play for the Seahawks for his first 2 years. His main rookie card, which I actually have as well, and I have that in the all-time Packer set, is the 98 SP Authentic out of that great set that has Peyton Manning, Randy Moss, and Charles Woodson. So I'll show that card next time because that falls within the 90s. But the 2000 Fleer Focus is the one we use for the Team Hall of Fame set. Alright, well that's about it for this video, guys and gals. We will see you next time when I'm going to go through the 1990s as we delve a little deeper into my registry sets, which is kind of the bread and butter of what I collect. The Packers are a fun team to collect. They have a great history. They started in 1919, So this next year will be their 100th anniversary, and that's just amazing that they've been around that long. For just to have that kind of history in football is pretty amazing. But it also means there's a lot of cards to collect and a lot of competition between Packer collectors for cards, as you'll find out later as I go through my sets. So everybody, thanks for watching. Appreciate you checking out the channel again, and you all have a great night.